Portugal recently voted to change citizen requirements from 5 years to 7 to 10 years. If you're planning to move here, here's what that actually means, whether you should panic or just adjust your plan. Hi, if you haven't met me before, I'm Cinnamon. I've lived in Lisbon for 6 years under Portugal's residency laws. In the next couple minutes, we'll talk about what changed, what that means for your timeline, the questions you need to ask yourself, and the alternatives if this is a deal breaker for you. Spoiler alert, if you were moving to Portugal solely for the fast track EU citizenship, you might want to rethink your strategy. Now, I'm doing this because I've been getting a lot of questions and a lot of DMs, and hopefully by the end of this video, this will be helpful for you and your plan. I cannot tell you what to do. I can just give you information, maybe tell you what I've done, and you see what works for you. So let's talk about what actually changed. Most foreigners, US, UK, and Canada, it's going to go from 5 years to 10 years. And for CPLP countries, Brazil, Angola, etc., and EU nationals, it's going to go from 5 years to 7 years. So the timeline is going to start from your residency card issuance and not your application. So let's quickly talk about the reality of 10 years. So a residence card can take anywhere from 2 to 3 years to be issued. So what does that mean? So I'm on temporary residency. I've been a resident of Portugal for 5 years now. I'll be working on permanent residency soon and citizenship. Now, what that means for anyone who's been in Portugal for a while and you're waiting on your residency card, you may know that sometimes you can apply or you renew your residency, and it may take a while to get your card. So that can kind of be the aspect as it relates to even your citizenship and permanent residency. So those are some things you may want to take in mind. So even though you hear that this is the year requirement, it doesn't mean you're actually going to get your documentation until months, if not years later. And you have to kind of know that when you're doing your timing. So in the case of the 10 years, it could mean 12 to 13 years to get your actual citizenship information and card. Now, what are the additional requirements that were added recently? You must have A2 level Portuguese language proficiency, which was the case in the first place. Knowledge of Portuguese culture and political organization. That's new. Declaration of adherence to democratic state principles. That is new. And proof of real ties and integration. And so what that basically means is you're not just living in Portugal, but you're part of the culture. You are part of gyms, you are part of organizations, you're part of the business sector. You're doing something to show that you've integrated yourself into the country and the culture. So what is the current state of the law? So it was approved on October 28th. It still needs the president's signature or a constitutional court review. It's not all the way in effect right now. The current rules still apply. But anything can happen. When this did get voted upon, my attorney called me immediately and he was like, get to the office. Luckily, I had just recently got my documents from Washington, D.C. I got my fingerprints. I got all the necessary documentation. So you have to have the originals when you file. And so luckily a friend came to visit me and she brought the originals with her. And so I was able to get in hopefully by the deadline. Now, the expected implementation and what's going to happen should be coming in the next current couple weeks or months. So I've gotten some questions about the grandfather clause, so let's talk about that. Grandfather clause concerns no formal protection for applicants already in the process, the constitutional concerns raised by legal experts, and it may be reviewed by a constitutional court. It's uncertainty for those who are currently in the process. So like I said, I just submitted my citizenship paperwork, so I just gotta wait and see how that goes. So ultimately, who does this affect? The people who are impacted are golden visa holders who have not lived in Portugal for 5 years yet, D7 visa holders in their early years, digital nomad visa holders planning long term, anyone who applied after June 19th, 2025, this may be a concern for you. Now, who's likely not necessarily affected at this moment? Applications submitted before the law takes effect. So again, I attempted to put in my application, last week, I think. Now, there seems to be a little bit of a lack of a formal grandfather clause. And again, the best person to talk to, I'm giving you what I know to be true, but you definitely want to consult a lawyer if some types of immigration concerns, if you have any type of immigration concerns. So I've been getting a bunch of different messages from individuals that are asking me what they should do based on this decision. And obviously, this is a decision that you make for you and your family, not somebody off the internet. Let's just talk about some things, and then hopefully you can kind of make these critical answers for yourself and your family. Do you want citizenship? Like, was that part of your plan when you decided to come to Portugal? And be honest with yourself. The EU passport for travel and work freedom. Do you need full EU mobility, live anywhere in the country? Do you need a safety net, a plan B? Because what your answers are for that are really going to determine what you decide to do for you and your family. So let's talk about this a little bit. Now, if your answer is you want to travel and work in the EU, your permanent residency of 5 years has not changed. That is still 5 years right now. And the permanent residency gives you the right to live and work in Portugal indefinitely. You don't have to do the visa renewals, and you still have access to healthcare. Now, what the permanent residency doesn't give you the ability to live and work freely throughout all the EU countries. And you don't have voting rights. So you have to ask yourself, is residency enough based on your circumstances? Critical question number 2. Ask yourself, do I need to live and work in other EU countries, or am I primarily staying in Portugal? Do I need to pass citizenship to future generations, or do I want voting rights in EU elections? A lot of that's going to depend. And if you say no to all those, maybe residency can work for you, and then there's no issues, no need to panic. Now, if Portugal is your destination, permanent residency gives you almost everything citizenship does. You can work, you can live, you can access healthcare, you can buy property. The only limitations you have are you can't vote, you can't live freely in other European countries, and some countries may require you to have a visa to travel. Now, if EU citizenship is what you need, 10 years is substantially different than 5 years. So you have time to evaluate alternatives. Critical question number 3. What's your alternative? If 10 years is a deal breaker for you, other EU countries with shorter timelines may be something you might want to consider. You can maintain Portugal residency and accept longer timelines, or you can reconsider if citizenship is actually what's necessary. Now, here's a quick reality check. Citizenship processes take years everywhere. In the United States, in France, in England, Germany, it takes years. Most countries require 5 to 10 years minimum. Portugal is still pretty competitive. It allows dual citizenship, unlike Spain. You're more accessible than other EU countries, and the quality of life still remains the same so far. Here's the uncomfortable, and I really want to sit with this. Like, let's say you go to someone's home, and when you go in their home, you can have your shoes on and walk around a house with your shoes on. And the next time you come and visit, they want you to take your shoes off. Either you take your shoes off or you don't go in their house. Like, you can't go in somebody else's house and dictate what they do in their house. So you are a guest in someone's country. So if the things change, you just got to roll with it. Like, that's just what it is. And if you're a U.S. citizen, you got to understand what's going on in the U.S. It'll be crazy for you to sit here and wild out based on what's happening over there right now. If you're going to somebody else's place, you are a guest. You just got to go ahead and rock with what happens. So anything can change, not just Portugal, but any country. So governments respond to political pressures and citizen concerns. This reform brings Portugal in line with Spain, also 10 years. Expect more EU countries to tighten up their requirements. Now, your response. You can accept it and adapt your plans. Don't take it personal. It's policy, not about you specifically. Have realistic expectations about your immigration process and build plans that even if rules change, you're still okay. And this is just a couple information for people who may be thinking about alternatives. So there are alternatives: 5-year citizenship, France, Netherlands, Belgium, German, and Luxembourg. You do have to speak the language in various cases, and the level of the language you may need to know for citizenship varies per country. But these are some of the other kind of 5-year plans. But remember, the language can be a bit rough in the requirements, so you want to consider that. Now, again, all of these countries, they have language and integration requirements. So you can't just live in someone's country. You have to show that you fully integrated into the culture, into the country. It is not enough to just live there and be in your apartment all day doing your own thing and not involving yourself with the country and the culture. So you have to prove that. Now, again, the permanent residency option may be enough for a lot of people. And if you haven't even moved to Portugal yet, this should even be something that stresses you out. Anything can change. you may come to Portugal and realize it's not your vibe. It's not something you're interested in. So worrying about the citizenship and the permanent residency now, it's just kind of par for the course for moving abroad. You can move to a country and it may not actually be your vibe, and then you may have to move to another country. That's just a thing until you find the place that works for you. But citizenship isn't necessarily required in all cases. So you have to kind of make that decision for you and your family. It shouldn't completely derail your plans. Now, if you want to be strategic about this, you can get your permanent residency at 5 years, continue towards citizenship at 10 years if you still want to. And that gives you the stability while keeping your options open. You're not starting from zero, you are building towards your citizenship. So what does this mean in regards to what we have now? What are the next steps? So, continuous plan, monitor constitutional court review, start Portuguese language learning now. You'll need an A2 anyway. Build genuine ties to the community. This helps with your integration requirement. Don't panic. You knew immigration was a multi-year commitment, so just relax. Now, for those of you who are near your 5 years, you want to consult an immigration attorney immediately. They may be able to apply the old rules if you react quickly. So depending on when you're watching this video, it might be too late. Applications submitted before the law takes place should be under the 5-year rule. Now, do not rely on this. I am not an attorney, so don't forget to get professional advice. Now, if you've already been here for 5 years and you've already applied for citizenship, most likely you're okay. If you are a permanent resident but haven't applied yet, prepare for the 10-year requirement. Again, you want to consult an immigration lawyer for your specific situation. I cannot answer your specific situation in comments. I'm just sharing with you what I know, but definitely contact an immigration attorney. Here are some steps in regards to planning the move. Is citizenship critical to your plan? If no, move to Portugal, get your permanent residency at 5 years, and see how you feel at 10. If it is part of your plan, evaluate if 10 years works for you. If 10 years doesn't work for you, research other EU countries, consider if you need citizenship versus residency, and look at ancestry options. And of all of this, you want to kind of keep your perspective. Citizenship anywhere takes a lot of time. 5 years was actually unusually fast for the EU. Portugal still allows dual citizenship. Spain does not for most people. And you can still have a pretty excellent life with a permanent resident. If you're serious about moving abroad, a few extra steps shouldn't derail your entire plan. This can happen in any country, especially in today's climate. And final thought, don't move to Portugal or anywhere just for citizenship timeline. Move because you want to live there. Citizenship should be a bonus, not a reason, if you're serious about moving abroad. So in summary, Portugal citizenship is now 10 years for most, 7 for CPLP and EU folks. It's not in effect yet. It's constitutional review likely. Ask yourself, do I need citizenship or is permanent residency enough? Alternatives do exist. Other EU countries offer permanent residency options, ancestry routes, etc. This policy is an adjustment. It's not a catastrophe. So I hope that was helpful and that may decrease any jitters or anything that anyone may have. If you're moving abroad and you're wondering how to get more clients abroad, if you're moving abroad and trying to figure out how to network the job market, LinkedIn has been the most effective for me, and I'll continue to share some information on that as we go forward. So I'll leave my LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn and just stay tuned to content that I'll put on here in regards to that. So until next time.